Switch up the side.
Trying something different.
Just trying to stay out the sun, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, man.
It's too hot.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
You talked after the Galaxy game, and John D talked about the need to be more clinical in front of goal. What kind of things were y'all working on this week to try to improve that?
I mean, even today we just did like a attack versus defense exercise where you're attacking at real pace with real numbers kind of in front of them. We talked about we talked and looked at video of how we can finalize chances or create a better chance or look for a better decision with a pass. Don't want to take opportunity away from guys and say that you have to make this pass or that pass because decisions change and moments change in the game and players move. So just making sure that they understand whoever's got the best option, give them the ball to have the shot, or you have to be really clinical in how you execute your final shot, whether it's a technique or whether it's the angle of approach or whether it's a dribble or a pass or way you combine. So just different ways that we can continue to layer on what we've already been doing or creating the chance, but just finalizing it.
I know that, scoring is always important, but when you're facing a team like Charlotte that has a really, really good defense, it's, I assume, more about taking advantage of the few chances you're likely going to have.
Yeah, I hope that we can still create a high number, or it's more really about quality of chance, really. Number would be great, but if you're creating average chances, it doesn't really matter. It's more about the high quality chances that we create. Yeah, they're a great defensive team. They're a good team in general. Really well organized, very disciplined. So, and I think every opponent poses something different. This game will pose something a little bit different than the Galaxy. Shapes are very similar in terms of the way they defend, but the personnel and the way they defend is maybe a little bit more stout. So yeah, it'll be difficult, but that's the challenge that we have to go and face up against and create a better chance and high volume as well.
And what makes that? How does their defense work? What makes it so effective?
They work. Every single player works. They give little space away between lines. They're aggressive when they have to be aggressive to step out. Just very disciplined. Like the way I think of it when I watch their team, they're really disciplined, really organized. Everybody works back. You see when they do get broken or a team switches and they get in the final third, they've got sometimes 9 or 10 guys in and around their box. That's really difficult to break down, and that's credit to the work that they've done and Dean Smith as he's taken a new group.
Jay and Derek talked a lot on Tuesday about how the team played really well up until the 60th minute, and then things kind of fell apart. What needs to be done in order to keep that momentum going forward through the whole game against Charlotte?
Yeah, they're different games, so the way we approach that game and the way we approach it is always the same. But in terms of wanting to win the game, the outcome, right? But we knew that there would be long stretches where we would have to defend deeper or whatever it might be, and there could be more opportunities on the counterattack. This game might be a little bit different. So I think that the moments in the game as we were kind of in the 60 to 75 range when we were really defending deep, we needed to, maybe change something up on my end or how we were asking them to defend or maybe substitutions, things like that. But yeah, it's a concentration thing, execution of whether it's connecting passes or being a little bit more strong defensively in certain moments.
You mentioned Charlotte defending kind of deep, and they're comfortable doing that. How do you deal with the potential transitions from them when they do get the ball and get forward with pace?
Yeah, we talked about it today about how we attack. We talk about that a lot as well when we do attack, how we are protecting ourselves for any team that counters, because I think this league is a very transitional league in general, so most teams have attackers that can hurt you on the break. So we have to think about how we go and attack and not just be all-out attack and only have 2 guys back there at times. And I don't think they always defend so deep too. They can keep a higher line as well. So they're just an organized, very disciplined team in general. Higher up the field, lower, wherever.
You got Alexi for 30 minutes on Saturday, and you had another week with him. How has he kind of embedded himself into the group, and do you think he's more fit than he was last week?
Yeah, he's really integrated well with his teammates. I think this week has been really good for the group in general. We looked at the film more on especially on the attacking side of how we could be better on the ball and find more passes or just find more areas to attack, whether it's this creating the space or actually staying in pockets of space, and he will help with that. He's integrated well with his teammates, and it's about integrating him onto the field. His fitness level is good. It's just getting him the game fitness or game orientation and getting him used to his teammates and not used to his teammates because it's not about like getting used to them. It's more like just integrating with other players around him and like he's not been involved in this group for a good stretch of time and been on his own doing fitness work. So his base fitness is good. It's just how quickly we can get him up to that soccer game pace.
Will he likely start?
We'll see. You'd like to know, wouldn't you?
I will.
Yeah, we'll see. Like we want to look. It's an urgent moment. We want to have him available, like all the players to be available to be able to start or maximum minutes. But we've had today to train. As we get closer, today we'll have a big discussion about how we can get him safely in the right areas and also the maximum amount of minutes.
I assume it's only Ronald that's out for Saturday. Look, everybody else was out there.
Yeah, I mean, he's TBD. Today he trained with the group pretty much full on, so we'll see his availability now.
And Tristan's hip. I've seen him training Tuesday and Thursday. How is that?
Yeah, he's a little bit day to day. Yeah, it's a strange one. They were going back of what actually happened, and then he was training and just kind of managing the pain, and then it just got to a different level. But yeah, I would say he's more day to day probably.
Was that a incidental injury, or was it just a fatigue thing?
No, it was a contact thing.
Contact.
Yeah,
injury.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned the urgency, and we talked to Stien. Looked at the playoff picture, limited amount of games left. Just how has he been approaching this portion of the year, as you really want to, as you approach that in the playoff start?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it as we were going into these. We talked about there was 9 games at the time, and we talked about the 9 games are guaranteed. We have the rest of that season, right? And after that, we hope we have more, and that's the goal, to have more after that. So that 1 game's gone. Now we've got 8 left, and then we approach every game as it comes. And yeah, there's urgency to. We don't talk about outcome a lot, but the outcome's important because in my head, like the outcome doesn't change. We want to win every single game, and that's the approach we go with, and that's the mentality we go with. It doesn't always happen, and I understand that's the way it works. That's the way life works. But we will go with that same urgency that we have had. Now we just know that hey, it's coming closer. So we have to take the moments that, whether it's in the game or just bigger moments as the season kind of closes down, to make sure we are above the playoff line in the highest position possible.
Are y'all going to be taking some days off next week?
Yeah, some, but not anything crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you guys balance the urgency and good intensity that comes from that with knowing that there's 8 games left and not letting that turn to panic in moments?
Yeah, that's the real challenge. Is that I always try to give them that sense of not ease is the right word. I don't know what the right word is, but there should always be urgency when you play. Like whether it's the first game or the last game of the season, there should be an urgency in it because like it should matter. Every game, every point matters. And if you look at like as the season's gone, if you start to add up points you lost or points you've gained and where you've gained them, they all add up at the end. They matter. So it's making sure that you don't go over the top and do something stupid or emotionally stupid to where you put yourself at risk or you make a bad moment in a game, bad decisions from whether it's myself or even them. You have to stay even keel. It's that old saying of like don't let the highs get too high and the lows too low. So try to stay as even keel as we can and know that the urgency it should be always there.
You see the guys like Brad and Dax and Derek who've been around this league and been in these kind of spots before. Do you see them as maybe a little extra important at times when you're in these moments? Yeah,
they're always important. These moments, first game moments, preseason moments, like those guys, like the experience they have, they can touch on things that the other guys can't. They've been in these situations. They've sometimes good situations, sometimes bad situations. They've seen kind of everything. So that's like the great thing about having veterans on your team that have those different experiences, whether it's different leagues or different tournaments, all those things. So yeah, that doesn't change in terms of where we are in the season. It definitely helps. It doesn't hurt, I'll tell you that.
Jay's been doing really well this season for you guys, especially in that last match against LA Galaxy. What has it been like to watch him improve over this season as a whole and seeing him really break through and being a star in the midfield for you guys?
Yeah, you guys have asked a lot about him this year, and it's good. He's earned that. He's had to earn everything. He's a young player that's breaking himself into regular first team minutes. So the challenge for him is to keep progressing and stay as consistent as possible and really challenge the rest of. We talked about it with those midfielders, the 4 of them at the time that there was like challenging each other, and he's challenged them in good ways, and he's youthful and he's got energy and he's got some banter in him a little bit with some of the older guys, but like he's challenging in the right way. He's pushing and then he's supportive as well of his other teammates. So yeah, he's done a great job. The challenge is now that he stays consistent and keeps going.
Last one for me. Y'all have the largest discrepancy between goals scored and expected goals in Major League Soccer. Are you a believer in probabilities and that is going to swing back in these last 8 games? Or are you a believer in we are what we are?
I don't know. Somewhere in between. I think that if I went off probabilities, and this is where you see it, like when I watch the games and broadcast, probabilities we'd be, I won't use that word, but we'd be out. Like we lost every game because all the probabilities say you're never going to win. You look at the Columbus game where you're down 1-0, the probabilities of winning were like 13%. Well, we won the game, so the probabilities mean nothing.
Right.
Like we won the game. So I'm in between because there's probably